Very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief. It's the very first day in the month of July, officially welcoming you to the very second half of the year 2025. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Yes, indeed. It's a beautiful day that holds a lot of promise. A day when great men and great women were born. Welcome to the Morning Brief on Channels Television. I am Bukola Koga.
And I'm Karadoki Kilu. Let's get started, shall we? Biggest stories for you, Bukola, because I know it was a very long weekend.
Rub it in.
I can't help it. Forgive me.
It's your forte, right? Mm-hmm. Well, but most profoundly from yesterday, indeed, it's that blockade, called security blockade, right there at the headquarters, the National Office of the People's Democratic Party, the main opposition party. So it seems as if, you know, the PDP office is now known for either mild or intense drama. When you recall what happened, you know, a month plus ago, when men got nearly into some embarrassing fisticuffs, that continuing contention over the office of the National Secretary of the party. And it seems as if that particular thorny subject that is tearing the main opposition apart is yet to be resolved. But there's a lot of expression of optimism from members of the Board of Trustees of the party and some other members. So we're going to expand the conversation today, of course, and try to get a sense of it. But more importantly, this is evidence of the continuing subject of the absence of internal, you know, democracy within political parties, not just the main opposition party now, but even other political parties. And when that is lacking, of course, it impacts on the elections at the national level as well. And, you know, it gets us all wondering, you know, have we made a right choice of elected representatives? So we're going to continue to reflect on this, you know, as things go by. But that's our main focus this morning. Guys, what are you tracking?
Oh, for me, I just want to backtrack a little bit. I saw a list of Colonel Dangiwa, you know, one of the military gentlemen who was at the forefront of fighting for the advancement of June 12 for MK Abiola to be the president of Nigeria, when the president had actually gone to Kaduna and honored him as part of the honorees for national honors. He now appreciated the president to say, "We thank you, Mr. President," but I wasn't just the only military man. So he gave a list, including Colonel Lauren Toba, who is now a KBAC, I think in Kogi State. A couple of other people, he listed them to say, it's not just me, but I am receiving this on behalf of all of these people. But whilst there were civilians who were on the streets fighting the cause of June 12 and all of that, there were other military men as well who were part of that movement to say, even though we're part of the formation of the military, the right thing has to be done. Some of them ended up in jail, some perhaps killed, some dismissed and all of that. So I felt that's it's a good thing to not just be selfish, to remember that a tree cannot make a forest. And I must appreciate Colonel Dangiwa for remembering his own comrades in the military for what they did to make sure that what we have today as the republic actualized even from the formation of military. For me, that's quite commendable.
Absolutely. I must tell you guys that I'm still keeping my eyes on St. Lucia. Ever since that announcement came through that the president was going through St. Lucia, and then, of course, end up at the BRICS meeting, the Google search for St. Lucia has spiked in Nigeria. And I must say, and as we said yesterday, that looks like St. Lucia is like the biggest beneficiary of this. But I think the latest will be this scholarship scheme that President Tinubu has proposed and approved for Caribbean students. And it's very interesting because this begins from the next academic year, and it's been approved by President Bola Tinubu. There's also the visa waivers for holders of diplomatic and official passport from the organizations of Eastern Caribbean states. But just to be clear, this is a government scheme introduced by President Tinubu that says that Caribbean students who apply and, of course, pass through will be able to study in Nigerian universities on a scholarship. And you should see the reactions to this particular news. People saying, come on, do we have plenty money to spend on others and all of that? So it's a big debate, definitely. Some say it's a use of soft power in some sense, right? Because you have other countries giving to Nigeria in that sense. So what's wrong with Nigeria giving to other countries? But I'm really curious what you think, guys. Is this a case of let's be givers, not just take every time. Let's give, use soft power. Or this is a case of, come on, we have a lot that we could use the money for, so how about we just sort ourselves?
I think there's a lot of relationship between Nigerians and Lucia. According to their leadership, saying that a good percentage of them are Nigerians, you know, taken out of Africa, so they ended up in those areas. And I also agree it's part of soft power as well. I know the argument would be, why are we doing NEL fund that our people have to pay back, and why this one is going to be entirely free for the people. But we have done a lot, not just academically, in terms of military, in terms of support, as well as maybe several other things. As I said yesterday, if you look at the trade numbers, you know, St. Lucia benefits more in terms of the trade numbers. There was a time Nigeria had more trade in terms of the surplus with that country, but now some data showed that in 5 years, ours has decreased maybe by 30-something%, while St. Lucia has increased by over 100%. So given the economies, the side of the economy, what the potential holds, maybe tomorrow is the reverse could be the case. So that's why I said they're going to be bigger beneficiaries, and now it's clearly showing how the president is saying, look, we can do stuff together. Today, perhaps you're in need of us. Tomorrow, we may have a need of you in one area or the other of your own advantage, because there's always comparative advantage as far as this is concerned. So there are small countries like that who look at us like some kind of America, and that we may criticize our country and our leadership, but there are countries, when you look at us, you know that even Lagos should be supporting them at some point. So it's a bilateral relationship, some level of soft power, some level of potential for the future in terms of relationships. So imagine one of these students that are giving scholarship today ends up being the president or prime minister of St. Lucia. I can imagine what that relationship will mean to Nigeria,
right?
If tomorrow we need something that they have. But for now, it's to their advantage from the data I have established as far as the trade is concerned, and even the pronouncement of the president. You didn't see them saying, come and collect anything. It's more like we can do this together in that sense.
Well, for me, it's more important that we humanize the story. Every time there's a bilateral engagement and, you know, Nigerian officials have to visit a country, you know, and propose interests and business exchange, the most important thing is what's in it for Nigerians. Bilateral trade surplus or deficit, favoring whichever country. For Nigerians, for the president, especially for this extension of generosity, charity must begin at home. And so is charity beginning at home when Nigerian students, you know, have to obtain loan from the NEL fund scheme before they can attend university? But this is entirely free. And, you know, don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with, you know, this gesture by Mr. President, but is the same going to Nigerians, for which you know, Nigerians, or for whom rather, the president has responsibility, even more responsibility than students from, you know, this country whom we love and who want to relate with, St. Lucia. That is more important.
Okay, so let's get to the business. What we're dealing with today on the program. We'll get started with the wrangling of the People's Democratic Party. Yesterday there was something described as a siege. Who exactly is responsible for this siege? Well, some of the members of the party have said, no, we wanted to be sure that the right set of people attended NEC. Whether it was an expanded caucus or a NEC, well, I think it eventually ended up as in NEC. Well, the PDP people will be right here. One of the top persons of the PDP was the former National Secretary, will be right here. National Publicity Secretary will join us on the program to break it down for us on Morning Brief.
Well, that's not all. The ruling APC itself has its own fair share of internal issues, with some quarters divided over the vice president slot ahead of the 2027 general election, and with some, you know, leaving the presidency office but not leaving the party and resolving to work against the re-election of the president. How does that sound to you? Well, we'll be talking with the former aide of President Tinubu, who wants a new presidential candidate for the party.
Okay, those are some of the things.
Still talking 2027, really. There's the coalition that is building. What are they building? What is it, an edifice? Is it, I mean, what exactly are they building? So we'll talk about the coalition. Who is in this coalition? Who is out of this coalition? What is this coalition trying to achieve? Lots of names, lots of faces being put out there. But we'll take you a bit deeper into all of this on the show today.
Absolutely. So we will remember your feedback channel. You can get to us email, WhatsApp, as well as CTV Morning Brief. That's a hashtag on X. You can reach out to us with your messages, with your comments, with your suggestion, whatever it is you want to say, you want to tell us, so that we can amplify your voice. We'll be right here to receive it. But in just a moment, to bring you the headlines before we get to the conversation for the day. Join us again. Mine is okay. Let's start with this Nigeria. This Nigeria leads with what played out yesterday at the Wadata Plaza. Calm after storm. PDP NEC returns Anyanwu fully as national secretary. Calm after storm. PDP NEC returns Anyanwu as national secretary. So at the end of the day, this is going to be, I don't want to talk so much about this because the people that answer all the right questions are here to make sure that what exactly played out. So Kayode and Bukola, the drama had continued after the 99th NEC. We were not sure what will hold on June the 30th, whether it was an expanded caucus as announced by Umar Damagun, the acting national chairman, or the NEC that was part of the resolution of the 99th NEC for the 100 NEC. Well, it looks like the people that advanced NEC had the day, but it came with a lot of drama. Initially, we're wondering who sent this unusual presence of the police. Well, some persons say when they spoke to the police authorities, the police said, well, there's an order from above. There's a word I don't like in a democracy, it's order from above. I think we should change some languages we use. Just say whoever sent you. Order from above is very vague. It could be a criminal that sent you. It could be the state authority that sent you. Order from above is vague and it's almost borderline. It reminds one of the days of coups and all of that. So, well, eventually they left. The BOT usually meets before every meeting. They had to go to another venue to have their meeting before they came back. Well, Bala Mohammed was saying it wasn't as people have said, it's NEC, we needed the right set of people. It just shows you that there's a little trouble. But there's one thing that happened yesterday that I must commend the PDP for. Well, I don't know whether the entirety of the PDP agreed with it. It looks like they've now settled with Anyanwu Sam as a national secretary. Whether that is a final say, well, time will tell. You guys have the next paper.
It's a lot to unpack, but not to worry. We have someone who's well placed to shed light, as they always say, on these issues. But let's turn our attention. Again, this is a story you find on a lot of the front pages, right? So if you take a look at Nigeria News Direct this morning, what you find there is, again, the PDP's NEC meeting. That's the Nigerian News Direct. You see, PDP resolves leadership rift, reinstates Anyanwu as national secretary. As warring factions reach truce, Demagun leads NEC in Abuja. So yes, he was there. You had the governors there as well. And you know what? Again, we'll keep the gunpowder dry. But let's talk about the big picture on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct. And now that's President Bola Tinubu addressing a joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Assembly in St. Lucia. So the president got all of the honors, all of the attention. He addressed them, and that's where he spoke about issues around diplomatic ties, and the visa waivers, the student scholarship scheme for Caribbean students, and all of that. And for a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, interesting. I mean, look at all the honors that the president got, visiting St. Lucia," and I think that has again expanded all of the controversies. No, the term is not controversy. The theories, the conspiracy theories about President Tinubu's visits, wondering what exactly is going on. But I must tell you guys, statements after statements have been flying out. I think this is the fastest I've seen statements flying out about President's engagement, why he's there, what is going on, almost minute by minute of that one.
I like it. It just shows that they're feeling the pressure of the people. That's what it means. Whether the information is right, wrong, is different kettle of fish. Whether the narrative is acceptable by Nigerians is a different kettle of fish. For the fact that they are responding promptly, I think we must commend the communicators for that, at least for once. But it also shows that they are feeling the heat that people are saying, what is our president doing in St. Lucia? Well, they have explained to you what he went to do.
So statement comes out, says, President Tinubu says scheme for Caribbean students begins next year. Just moments before that, a statement comes out saying most St. Lucian formerly enslaved people were Nigerians from the state also. I'm telling you guys, we're just coming back to back. Then the visa waiver statement also came out before that, and it just kept coming like rapid fire. All of the statements.
With it. As a matter of fact, if you visited the official page handle of the president's top aide, Bayo Onanuga, you see statements from explaining the St. Lucia visit, you know, numbering about 4 or 5.
They are explainers for the explainers. There are pictures and videos.
I think it's just, if we have Bayo Onanuga, just asking, sir, what exactly were you explaining? Why did he require that level? But it just...
And then paragraphs upon paragraphs, and you're tired of reading. What exactly is it?
It's one of the longest statements I've seen, and the number of statements for one visit. I hope when we get to BRICS, we're going to get as much as this. We're going to be watching them, because I have the next one.
Which is New Telegraph, and the New Telegraph triples down on the PDP NEC meeting from yesterday. This is how it is captioned. PDP NEC meeting. PDP NEC meets, reinstates Ayawu as National Secretary. And of course, there's one insight there, schedules another meeting for July the 23rd. All our governors, NWC members attended. We're on same page. That's ascribed to the acting national chairman, Damagum. Of course, we'll get to know exactly the implications of that in a moment. But of course, the St. Lucia's visit is also captured on the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper. See there, Mr. President, with the Governor General in St. Lucia, inspecting a visit presented to Mr. President there, you see, of course. So we're also looking forward to a lot of the good tidings that Mr. President is going to bring back from St. Lucia.
Manage this gift. Manage this gift first. First of all,
you didn't have to go there. No, but let's wait. It's a small country, literally.
Exactly. We don't always have to get.
I don't know. Maybe if we add OPIC and some other places, the population may. But it's a small country.
But have you given enough at home?
It's a small country. Not speaking for the president.
You have to sow before you.
Okay, let's say so somebody who is giving scholarship, say he comes to study University of Lagos, becomes the Prime Minister of St. Lucia tomorrow, and St. Lucia has something Nigeria needs. They will voluntarily, without bilateral. So maybe I'm just trying to make an excuse for the government. If you get anyway, in front of the New Telegraph, just above the headlines there. The House of Reps, I like what they are doing, checking in on the sole administrator of Rivers State. So give item, line by line item of the expenditure. For the time he's going to be still administrator. I heard about 24 billion for CCTV. I'm all for CCTV. The amount is maybe a different kettle of fish. I think every part of Nigeria should have CCTV because it helps in curbing crime. It even helps protect both the authorities and citizens when things happen. So great job, the House of Reps. Let's follow through to make sure that every cover is accounted for. Kade, before we go to the conversation.
Yeah, I must say that something very, I don't know how to describe it. It's just very worrisome. It's playing out in Ondo State. And you can also see this story on the front page of New Telegraph. You see Akeredolu, that's a former governor, now late, of Ondo State. Ondo to probe death, corpse for inspection. Wife may be quizzed. Wow. And this is just something that is very worrisome, very shocking.
Very unsettling.
I know the Attorney General, the State's Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Olukayode Ajulo, confirmed receipt of petitions demanding the formal coroner's inquest into the death of former Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. So it's something that just leaves a very bad taste in the mouth. You just wonder what exactly is going on here.
You recall there were a lot of disagreements arising from the management of government following the death of the late governor at the time. And, you know, there's also been a lot of disagreements over the handling of things, not forgetting, you know, the site of those who were buried during the
memorial site.
Okay. So we wonder if this is all related. But this is
I think page 5 of the news. Yeah, we're going to check it out. Yeah. Page 5 of the News Telegraph. The man is that I don't know what this is all about, but if you want details, you can go to page 5 of the New Telegraph to find out exactly what this is about. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get started with the conversation around the wranglings, or is it over now? We're not sure, of the People's Democratic Party, what played out yesterday at the Wadata Plaza. Join us again.
We're starting off with the opposition People's Democratic Party today. Had its NEC meeting yesterday. There were talks around will it be the expanded caucus meeting, the NEC meeting. The police came through, then some went to the Yaradua Center, some others to the Bauchi Governor's Lodge, and then they reconverged. It was a very long day for the PDP. In fact, it's been long months for the People's Democratic Party of late. And we have joining us Mr. Kola Olobodio, who's a former National Publicity Secretary of the PDP. Mr. Olobodio, good morning.
Good morning, Cowdy.
I know that this is a conversation you probably wouldn't get tired of having, and it's a very important one because the PDP is opposition. It represents opposition, and we need a very viable opposition, which is why we'll always stay with this story and come to you every chance we get. But let me see if I can get some closure from you. This NEC meeting that happened yesterday, and Mr. Ayan being confirmed as a national secretary, having Mr. Damagum, the governors who had disagreed again about what meeting was going to happen yesterday, having all of them together, addressing the press, is all now well within the PDP?
Well, I think I would rather say that the future will determine how well the party has become. Because, you know, there were some conditions that were attached to the reinstatement of Senator Sam Ayan. One, you must not victimize any staff of the Secretariat or any member of the National Working Committee. Two, you must uphold the decision that you must write to INEC immediately in respect of future National Executive Committee meetings, as well as the National Convention that has been slated for August. The NEC of July 2023, which is the next NEC, will be the 101st NEC of the party. You must immediately, possibly today, write to INEC in respect of that. So these conditions, which has been attached to his reinstatement, the management of those conditions will determine what the future will foretell.
But from where you sit, Mr. Olobodio, seeing the messaging from Mr. Damagum, the messaging from the governors as well. You have some other blocks, because 2 days ago or so we had different statements flying around. No, it's not going to be a NEC meeting. It's going to be a caucus meeting. No, nobody has a right to call that. It's still, you know, postponed and all of that. The messaging was clear, and these same people sat in the same room, right? So from where you sit, is this just I don't know, the calm before yet another storm which your party will ride? Because the role of a national chairman has been spoken about time and again, that what exactly is going on whose side is he on, who is he speaking for, does he want the best for the party and all of that? So from where you sit, do you suspect that there's going to be another big storm coming for the PDP?
To be honest with you, Cowdy, and what happened yesterday, at least we were able to establish, in line with the position and the disposition of some of us, that you cannot set aside NEC, and you cannot defy NEC. So that has been established with yesterday's meeting, that when NEC adjourns and slate another date or another day, any officer of the party, irrespective of the position he holds, and any member of the party, irrespective of his caliber, cannot change the decision of NEC. By resolving yesterday to go back to NEC, that has settled that, and they have settled it permanently. But having said that, as you are already aware and you have spoken to, it was not any expanded caucus that doesn't exist anywhere in the constitution of the party. It was NEC, 100th NEC, that held yesterday. Going into the issue of harassing members of the party, beating people up in the National Executive Committee, stopping respected Board of Trustee members from going into the meeting hall, the NEC hall, and eventually going to Yadwa Center to hold meetings. All these are the signs of the challenges the party is currently facing. But like I said, July 23rd is near, it's almost here. We'll see what happens between now and July 23rd.
And so we couldn't but miss the conversation yesterday when a member of the Board of Trustees, Chief Bode George, described what happened yesterday as disgraceful, just, in the mildest terms, out of some of the things that he said about the blockade. And another thing that I didn't miss was that he also attributed this to being the voice of Jacob at the hand of Esau. So who is the voice of Esau and the hand of Jacob that is responsible for this? Because even you are saying that it's the future that will determine if indeed all is well, such that we understand the past as we try to move ahead in the future, with specific reference to the PDP now.
Good morning, Bukola. Well, to be honest with you, I cannot speak for Chief Bode George, because he was right there on the spot. I wasn't there on the spot. So he knows what he saw that warranted him to make the statements that he did make concerning the... He's the only one that can come forward and give the reasons behind those statements. Concerning my own position, that, well, the happenstances between now and July 23rd will determine whether, it's normal peace or the peace of the graveyard. I hold on to that because I'm aware that there are conditions that have been attached to the reinstatement of Senator Samuel Anyanwu, and I hope that he abides with those reinstatement. That's that. With those conditions. That's what I want to say.
So, from where you stand, who was responsible for the blockade and why?
Because I've been trying to unpack that situation, but I read somewhere that the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, did say that the police were there for protective actions. While the police got to the secretariat and what their responsibilities were, or perhaps he was also the one that brought policemen for protective situations. But at the end of the day, I think the police overreached itself, and we have to take a very sense of responsibility. Engaging in scuffle with staff, stopping people from entering NEC hall, I think all these were not necessary. But I will not blame the police. I will blame the leadership of the People's Democratic Party for whatever happened yesterday.
Mr. Alobodinga, so let's start unpacking what the problems are. Let's agree without conceding that, okay, the issue of national secretary is over, is behind. So we now know who can send communications to INEC or to any other person, Umar Damagun and Senator Sam Anyanwu. What, in your view, is really the problem of the PDP?
Geoffrey, well, the problems of PDP are huge. There are many. They are in different forms, they are in different shapes, and it's not going to be easy for anybody, including me, myself, sitting down here and telling you that this is the challenge of the People's Democratic Party. The challenges are in various forms, you understand? But having said that, Geoffrey, it's important for us to note that what happened yesterday, even the acting national chairman, Ambassador Elias Damagun, did conclude that decisions that were made yesterday were painful, but that they needed to take those decisions to move the party forward, particularly on the reinstatement of Senator Samuel Anyanwu. And I'm also happy that at least they were able to establish in one form or the other that INEC never said that it will not take correspondences from anybody except Anyanwu. That's certain. But I think in a bid to make sure that, oh, okay, the party gets going again, they just said, okay, let us put forward Anyanwu, let him sign documents that he's supposed to sign, and let us see where we can take the party to from that moment.
Okay, so let's unlayer one problem that is ahead. And you've been in the NWC, you've been at the front row of the party to make decisions at the NWC level. And when you were there, I want to just put maybe a challenge, and if you were sitting in the room, how do you want to resolve this? Because these are the issues that there are like nuances around, nobody wants to speak about it, everybody is doing the blame game. One, within his rights, Atiku still wants to, perhaps may want to run, let me use a cautious word, may want to run for president yet again. So some people who are having that feeling are already close marking to say, no, it's not going to happen. And people, you know the names of the people at the front line of that. PDP has another issue. Nyesom Wike, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, is clearly made his position. I am going to work for President Bola Tinubu in 2027. But he's a strong stakeholder within the People's Democratic Party that has alliances even within the NWC. And the PDP is expected to produce a presidential candidate. And if somebody as formidable, as forceful as Nyesom Wike, who wants to work for the presidency, and is already doing that within his own space, is saying that, okay, I'll work for the president, but I have to still have a seat on the table within the People's Democratic Party making decisions as far as 2027 is concerned. If you were to sit in that room, what kind of decision would you make with this clarity that are provided?
Well, to be honest with you, Geoffrey, I think you hit the heart of the matter in the People's Democratic Party. And I've said this over and over, that the challenge in the PDP today is about those who want to incubate the party, keep it aside, allow 2027 to pass, then bring it back alive ahead of 2031. And those who are saying, no, we can't do that. We must allow the party to function as a viable, responsible, and challenging political party. So I think this is the crux of the matter. On how that can be resolved, I have said it over and over, even on this platform, that the person of the acting national chairman, Ambassador Elias Damagum, is nowhere pleased to resolve this matter. And that to resolve this matter, bring in a brand new national chairman who can mediate in all these matters and take the party out of the woods. No matter how long a man runs away from a challenge, if he doesn't sit down to resolve it, the challenge will remain manifest. So that is the major current challenge in the party. And that is also leading other people to say that, oh, there's no problem if the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, can be in PDP and also work for the candidate of the APC. Then they too can also remain in the PDP and also find a way of joining a coalition and see whether they can challenge the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So that's why I say that, look, it is the future that will determine whether all these issues have been rested or not. Let's leave it at this, Geoffrey.
So I think the question will then be not just what are the problems of the PDP, it will also be who are the problems of the PDP at this point, because it's not just a matter of what, it's also who. But it's interesting you talk about the coalition, Mr. Lombardia, because the Bauchi State governor was speaking to that, you know, when he was responding to why the police was there, you know, and saying that they were there for order, but what we saw was almost opposite. It was like they were deployed to prevent that meeting from holding, or at least a certain meeting from holding. But he also said that there's no excuse for coalition. But we know quite all right that there are a lot of people, leaders within the PDP, that want to be a part of coalition. So the survival of the People's Democratic Party, is it hinged on joining forces with a coalition or not? Because it looks like if the PDP doesn't join forces with the coalition, it might just be gradual bye-bye to the main opposition PDP.
What I can say with every sense of responsibility is that, you know, the party, as well as the Governor Forum, said they are not doing coalition. But I cannot sit before the world here and come and tell a lie. I will not. Members, leaders in the People's Democratic Party, also in the All Progressives Congress, also in the Labour Party, are talking about coalition. So it is something that the PDP will look into. But if the PDP fails to look into it, it is all well and good. We will all see the end. We will be there, all of us, and we'll see the end result.
So can the PDP survive without being a part of the coalition? At least, can the PDP be able to contest to take power without being a part of that coalition?
Well, let us be honest here. The People's Democratic Party has become an institution. And institutions don't die. But whether it will be able to present candidates in the 2027 election, whether it will be able to stand as an upright political party that will be able to face the challenges of election, the answer, as they say, is blowing in the winds.
So, Mr. Ologbadiyan, is part of the contention, you know, that is tearing the party apart, particularly now, is the interest of those who are pursuing this coalition and the alignment with the PDP? Is it one group versus the interest of Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and the others?
No, I don't, this is Kola Ologbadiyan, precisely. Well, I don't think it's about the issue of Atiku or just about the issue of the Wiki and all that and all that. I think it's about the drive to say that the country must not be, our nation must not be a one-party state. I think it's about that. I think to me, from my own reading, it's about the issue of incubating the People's Democratic Party, which is a major opposition political party, and seeing to it that it will not be in a responsible situation to participate in the 2027 election. And that will somewhat give credence to the one-party situation that is gradually enveloping our political space. So I think the issue of coalition dwells more about that than about the ambition of individuals. From what I'm reading, from what I'm hearing and reading.
All right, Mr. Ologbadiyan, let's talk about a couple of other things. We'll get to River State in just a moment. But before we leave the national issues of the party, don't you think, let me put it differently, don't you think it's time for the PDP to look at its constitution and begin to do a quick review? Because part of what brought the PDP to where it is now is the articles in its constitution as to whether or not the national secretary or anyone for that matter can actually resign. Because when I looked at the phrase being used, or the word being used operatively is may resign his position. So that is what maybe people like Senator Samayo latched on. But if you go to the omnibus provision of the APC, I think in Article 31, it's very clear. You will have to resign about 30 days before the primaries to contest whether it's party office or elective office in general elections. So there is no ambiguity. But this is just one of the and maybe provisions that have been able to point out. Generally, what are the things the party should be looking at? You're going to have a next NEC. Shouldn't that be part of the conversation that should be presented in the convention for ratification?
Well, let me start by telling you, Geoffrey, that as a special advisor to the then president of the Senate, Senator David Mark, I ran an election for the House of Representatives. And I ran primary election for the House of Representatives. I had to resign. Because at the screening level, you are going to be asked, have you resigned from your appointment? So in 2011, I resigned before I was reappointed into that office. I find this strange, and I say this with every sense of responsibility, that the situation in the party today allows somebody to go and run an election as governor. Then he lost the election. Then he returned again to come and maintain his office as national secretary, uncontested. Look, Geoffrey, a lot has gone bad. And it is because we are not obeying the rules, the constitution of the party, which all of us as members ought to respect and honor. We now begin to walk by the opinions and decisions of strong men. So, yes, PDP constitution might need review, the manifesto might need to be reviewed, and what have you, in order to meet the exigencies of this time. But I hope and I pray that the party will be able to attain these situations. I believe that there's nothing you bring up in the People's Democratic Party today, no matter how genuine the intention, no matter how real the intention is, there will be doubts from quarters. Oh no, these people that are doing this. No, these are people that are doing it. Oh, they are plotting to achieve this. That is the unfortunate situation that the PDP has found herself.
Yeah, Mr. Olopade, the reason I ask, there's a part that I think I will need you to speak to as well as we begin to wind down. That's a part of what is going to be done to assuage the Southeast caucus. If you look at the elections that happened in 2023, presidential election, the Labour Party got about almost 90% of the votes. The PDP, which is their traditional, what they call the traditional areas of the PDP even did worse than the APC. APC had about 6% and the PDP had 4%. And now this is the caucus of the PDP saying, this is who we want. But, you know, the back and forth has happened. Now Samayan is still there. What is the PDP going to do to assuage appeal? Because they had actually threatened at some point that if they are not respected, they will have to make a decision that may be detrimental. If you look at 4% in 2023, the PDP wants to get that number up.
Geoffrey, from the feelers that I've received since the meeting yesterday, the caucus is meeting this morning by 10 a.m. From what I heard, the majority of the people of the Southeast and the People's Democratic Party are feeling completely and totally betrayed. And nobody can say the angle that they will go, what they are going to do, but I'm aware that all that will be unfolded after their meeting by 10 a.m. this morning.
Very interesting. So let's talk Rivers now as well. The resolution in that sense that has come for Rivers State, FCT Minister, Governor Fubara, now all chummy in that sense, the president intervening. It looks like the PDP is lost in all of this. When you think about it, actually, that's a PDP governor, that's an FCT minister in the PDP, well, working for the APC. But the PDP is meant to take center stage, or at least is meant to be at the head of a table when it comes to this matter. And that is another reason why people wonder just how relevant the PDP is right now. So is this a resolution that you take as a PDP, even though you were not involved in it whatsoever, and it looks like the PDP has even lost more ground in that sense?
Yes, Carl, talking about the Rivers situation, well, I'll be honest, and I think that the PDP, well, did all they could, some on the negative side, others on the positive side, but in whatever way, I think the takeaway for the People's Democratic Party in the matter is the fact that its governors are being harassed, they are being humiliated, and whether they can openly say it or not, they are being forced to abandon their party and join the All Progressives Congress and the President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's political party. I think I would advise the party to look more in that area than what has happened in Rivers. What has happened in Rivers is, for the party, I believe it is lost. I can say that anywhere. But in order to avert a situation of reoccurrences in which governors will be told that if you don't come and join our own political party, we will remove you unconstitutionally, and nothing will happen. It's unfortunate that the PDP has is considerably losing its essence in a manner that it cannot even come out to challenge the ruling government on those aspects of bad governance.
But some would say part of the problem is who is dictating, who is paying what. You know, as they say, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. And the former governor of Rivers State and FCT minister is a big spender, funding even the interests of many, you know, elected representatives in the party. So if that is part of the problem, what has happened to the elder statesmen and those who have held offices in the past in your party? Former governor, we could mention a few, former governor of Kaduna State, and former caretaker committee chairman of the party. His name escapes me now. We can also talk about former governor of Benue State, Gabriel Suswan. Why are these henchmen, so to speak, not rising up to also provide funding of the party, to provide some form of balance of power for the main opposition party?
Bukola, your question is very complex. So I'm not in a position to know who is funding and who is not providing funds from the party. I think that's the question that Ambassador Umar Damagun will have to come and sit down here and reveal to you. I honestly do not know those who are making funding available and those who are not making funding available.
Well, there you go. Again, the coming days, as you said, will really tell. But some of us can already see the future. It's right there, looking at us in the face. But Mr. Kolologbonio, we have to thank you so much. We wish you the very best with all of the who's and the what's that are the problems of the People's Democratic Party. We've been speaking with a former spokesperson of the opposition PDP, Mr. Kolologbonio. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Kaudi, Bukola, and Geoffrey.
We'll take a moment now, and when we return, well, it's not just the PDP that is having its own challenges. The ruling APC also has its fair share of issues trying to resolve ahead of 2027, and not forget governance as well. We'll talk about that in a moment. Stay with us.
Political talking points in the last couple of weeks following his sudden resignation from President Tinubu's cabinet, if you like. He's a former senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on public affairs. He says he's very incensed at the lack of competition, space for competitive politicking within the All Progressives Congress, and he's in fact not happy with what he says is President Tinubu's expression of delight at the disarray in the opposition parties. Mr. Audu Aliyu joins us now. He's also the pioneer of the APC rebirth movement. Mr. Aliyu, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
And since resigning from your position, there have been some more developments in the All Progressives Congress. Remember the resignation over the weekend of the national chairman of the party. From where you stand, and this is also coming, by the way, after the ruckus in the Northeast, following the announcement of the endorsement of President Tinubu for 2027, without mentioning the name of the vice president in that announcement. So from where you see it, how are you taking in developments within the party following your resignation?
Oh yes, I think it's heading in the right direction. The resignation of the national chairman is a welcome development. I mean, a little late, but I mean, it's never too late to correct our past and set the tone for the future. What I think has been most disturbing about the APC in the past months, not even weeks, I mean, leading to my resignation is a deafening silence within the party, over some actions of Mr. President or the ruling class, that are not quite in alignment with the tenets of democracy or progressivism. And I mean, I believe we have gotten to a point as a people where I mean, it can't be for the fear of what we are going to eat. It can't be for the fear of our children's food or our parents' safety. For us to be quiet in the face of oppression or in the face of falsehood, promotion, and national destruction. We've been through issues like this before as a people, and the reason why we are here is simply because the right things were not done. So we must pull ourselves together and get to a point where we are courageous enough, we are honest, most importantly, then courageous enough to do the right thing. We might not necessarily get the desired result, but if we set that tone and it becomes a culture, it becomes a way of life, that as Nigerians we will always put our best forward, but we will question even the best. And I mean, democracy is a participatory, process. We need to be involved both internally and on the outside. We need to encourage competition, and the best of our men and women in the APC can't even come out to run. They are not afraid of not winning, but they are afraid of being trampled upon. I mean, you have your savings and you made up your mind to. It's a big step. It's actually a sacrificial role, if we like to put it, but most people don't get it. Say you want to go and run for councillor, for House of Assembly, for local government chairman, for House of Reps, for Senate, for governor, for president, for whatever it is you're going to run for, you're putting yourself up for leadership position. It's a sacrifice, and it's essential, it's very important. But in a case where we have a bunch of self-serving political elite in all of the parties who have a list of people they think should make the next elective list, then, it's no longer democracy, because they know who they want. I mean, we know what happened in Lagos with the primary, local government primary election that just happened. I mean, they're still dealing with the aftermath. If you let people make their decisions, whether internally or externally, the chances are that the people will be comfortable with the outcome. I think that's what we just need to push for. So, democracy is the highest level of human semblance of gift of God to man, which is freedom of choice. Which basically it's a divine gift from God, the ability for man to be able to choose between left and right, what is not. So if we don't allow that to happen in democracy, whether internally or on the general stage, then we're not just doing ourselves disadvantage. We are ruining our nation and the hope of the future generation.
So if the resignation of the now former national chairman is supposed to address these challenges that you are talking about, isn't the president's position on this, because there are reports, even though there are hushed tones about the reason for his resignation, there are reports that Mr. President is somewhat behind the scenes. So isn't this a demonstration of Mr. President's commitment to some form of uprightness, contrary to your public criticism of President Tinubu?
Oh yes, it is. I mean, I don't know what his reasons are, but I mean, I will only
evaluate information based on what is put out. I'm not a fan of a hearsay. You know, we need to put away hearsay. See, if there's anything, I've been close to national government since 2015, since we won the election in 2015, and I was in government for nearly 2 years. If there's anything I think we are lacking at this stage is transparency. We need, and that's very essential in the search for the next set of leaders in Nigeria, not just at presidential level, but at every level. We need a president, we need a governor, we need a senator, we need a rep member that can be assessed, not just by his kitchen cabinet, not just by his cabinet, but by the entire leadership team, you know, because these are your antennas, these are your receptors, you know, they are not just, it's not a one-way flow of information. You're not ordering. It's military when it makes it like order. You go on there, you order, you go on TV, you broadcast the orders of your principal, and however else you want to put it, like decree. You must carry feedback back from the people, back to your president, and be able to, you know, if he doesn't have to change his position, but he has to know what the people are saying, and he has to know what you feel about what he's done and what the people are saying. And you know, because leaders are usually blessed with wisdom, when you have all of these options, there are usually like 256 valid options to every scenario, every situation. You know, you just need to pick the right one that is apt for the context at the time and for the people. We've said it time and time again, life is a people at a time. We are not living for people of the past. We can't keep living in the past. You know, we need to live for now so we can make enough arrangement for the people of tomorrow. In a case where the president, the leader, is not accessible, it's a problem. So it's going to be difficult to make it a thing that the president become accessible. So first thing first, we look for someone who wants to be accessible as a leader. Someone who believes that, succession for him is an ideology. Succession for him is a system. Succession for him is a culture, not a person, not a, you're not going to think about your succession, you're thinking about the individual you're handing over to. No, you must be handing over to a system, because that system must be able to group varieties of leaders who will all know their role in the next, in the succession plan. We all can't be the same position, but sometimes he might just be the house cleaner in the house who enjoys the most. It doesn't mean he's least important. We need to get used to that. We need to celebrate every position. We need to appreciate every man. And we need to appreciate collaboration and encourage it. This is what, we should be looking out for. Yes, the president has, I don't even want to give him the credit, because the statement outside does not, the credit for what has happened does not belong to the president. It belongs to Ganduje. Because giving President the Ganduje for his resignation is expecting people to thank President for my resignation too, or be angry with him for my resignation. People have been angry with me. People have appreciation. People have said all sorts. I've seen all sorts of reaction for my resignation. But yeah, it's my decision, and I'm in a position to receive all of that. So I think, I'll give the credit to Ganduje for resigning, because his resignation, not a sack. So knowing that, if for his health or for any other reason, he does not belong there and he has left, we must honor that, and we must encourage that people who know they are out of place, out of tune, should exit and excuse themselves for the right people to come in, so we can all move together.
All right, Mr. Aldo.
The man who leaves might be the better beneficiary or the best beneficiary of the system after all.
All right, so a few more questions from my end. First, from what you have said, are you saying that whilst you served as an aide to the president in terms of public affairs, which simply means that maybe you get briefing and then you share with the rest of the people, the citizens, as to what government is doing in terms of their activities, programs, and policy, you did not have access to the president?
No, I didn't.
I didn't get that.
No, I did not have access to him. Not say in passing, hello, hi. No, sit and have a conversation, knowing that, like I am having with you now. I'm saying I didn't for my entire period of service in the villa.
And why do you think that was?
Because he doesn't want to be rich. It's simple. Any leader who wants to be rich will be rich. He knows me. I know him. He knows his team. I'm not the only one who hasn't had access to him. We had Dr. Baba Akim Mohammed, that is a special advisor. He's special advisor economy. He might be in the office of vice president or wherever, but I mean, those are people you should meet with. You can't be talking about, it's a big step in the reform. Economic reform is right, it's big. You know, if you're not meeting with these people, who are you meeting with? That means, it means we are running from a script that exists only in your head. And if it's in your head, how are we supposed to know what next is expected of me? I mean, he is nearly 80. The nation cannot grow at the president's pace. We need to grow faster. We lose about 25 people every day to hunger. That's what the global statistics says. It takes about 14 days for anyone who hasn't eaten to die. It means, I mean, even if 24 hours to the time you are going to die, if you have hope of eating for another 48 or 72 hours, you pull yourself up to be alive till the food comes. So it simply means that we have 20 to 25 people every day in this part of the country who who know they are about to die. Hunger is about to kill them and they have no hope of survival. It's a shame on all of us. So that has to be our target, to fix that. And whatever has to be done, has to be done. We must put our best foot forward. We must assemble the best team. We must entrench the best culture. We must entrench the best organizational skills. I have worked in the private sector. I worked in MTN when Telco came. I worked briefly with Intercontinental Bank. I mean, I worked with V-Mobile as a contract staff at some point. I've seen corporate organization. I lived the formation stage of my life in Lagos. I've interacted with the system. We have credible people. We have exceptional people in terms of corporate management. We have people who are gifted, people who have experience, who know, who can, manage our resources and deliver for every single citizen of the country and the future generation. But the only way this happens if we allow for healthy competition, where one man is not afraid of others shining. We are a galaxy of stars. One star shining should not stop the other. Every star should be able to see himself as an audience in a star show of another star. I mean, we watch the NBA All-Stars, we see the Sean Carter, Jay-Z, the Beyonce, Nas and all of them sit by the courtside to watch the likes of LeBron James and the likes. And I mean, it's star watching stars. This I pass my neighbor mentality that we've inherited, we've got to ditch it.
So, Mr. Aldo, is it a question of the president's refusing access to you and maybe other persons, or, the presidency is an institution. An institution has its pattern. Is it him not allowing access, or it is people around him not allowing access? Because you have to place the blame where it's appropriate.
And the buck stops where?
You have the answers.
Where does the buck stops? Exactly. So, I mean, if you look at these people, he appointed them, not you, not me. He's responsible for them ultimately. If they do well, it's his credit. If they don't do well, it's his discredit. I mean, it's him, ultimately. If you realize that, I mean, I'm president, it's been 6 months. I haven't seen a minister of mine, apart from seeing him at FEC. It's been 4 months. I haven't had a one-to-one with my Minister of Environment, Minister of Water, Minister of Agriculture. I mean, you have to make a periodic, plan for periodic engagement with your lieutenants. You need to even assess them, what they are doing. I'll tell you this, before the formation of APC rebirth, we had what we call NCAN. NCAN is Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network. We were responsible for the purchase of re-election form of former President Muhammad Buhari in 2019. The NCAN started in 2017, but before then, in 2016 ending, we had formed what we call internally displaced politicians, just what Mr. President referred to as political IDPs. We were we called ourselves internally displaced politicians, IDPs, because we were young, bright people who just came in from the private sector. We were hungry. Yeah, we were hungry to be part of national development because we knew what needed to be done and we believe we could do it. We have the faith. We believe in ourselves, and we see all of the other people outside who are not with us, who we know at the right time will build a bridge, will build network and bring them on board. And we all come to the table together and design and implement and preserve a nation that's worthy of our time on earth. But that didn't happen. We saw this election by President Muhammad Buhari in 2015, delayed, and we started asking all sorts of questions. We couldn't get anything. I mean, at some point, just like this, a few of us believe, it was not impossible to remove President Muhammad Buhari in 2019. If I don't believe that any president can be removed, how do I believe in democracy? Every 4 years election is said is a coup. It's just not the etat. Coup is every 4 years we organize a coup to either confirm a leader or change a leader. Leadership change is a coup. It's very normal, it's very legal. It's only when it's the etat that's a problem. if we do not individually and collectively design create an environment where the people can choose and replace and confirm their leaders at every chosen time, then what position are we to talk about military juntas in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Niger? No, we're not.
Well,
that's simply it.
Very interesting analogy you used there. So it's some sort of organized coup every 4 years.
Yeah, it is.
You believe that President Bola Tinubu, we should be able to remove him and say, well, we don't want you for a second term. And we'll talk to that, what to look out for in 2027, because obviously you're really passionate about that. But I'm just very curious, with this unpopular position that you have taken, you had dined, maybe not with the president, but you dined with the presidency, those in power. And this is the same you coming out to say, well, I didn't like all the things that were playing out. Almost an opposition, internally displaced. Maybe you can describe yourself. Because you're still a member of the APC, right? But you've resigned from the presidency. So with this unpopular position you've taken, do you get threats? I imagine you probably get, or maybe not, you can confirm. What kind of heat comes with this position that you have taken? Because it looks like you are doing a lot of harm, particularly because you are an insider as well.
No, on the contrary, not a single threat. You see, the truth of the matter is we need to normalize light. When there is light, darkness has no place. That's a fact. It takes a lot of time for some of us to come to terms with that. But when you do, you finally realize that you have it. And there's nothing. Light, no matter how small, can't be afraid of the largest or the biggest size or the biggest darkness. No, you can't. Light is light. You're not afraid of that. I'm not going against anybody. I'm building a nation that I think is going to be better than what I inherited from my father, and it's going to be worthy of what I can bequeath to my children. And I don't think anyone should have any problem with that. But if you make yourself a problem, I won't have a problem going through you. It's you who should be afraid of me, not the other way around. So I don't think so. And there have been a lot of concerns from my loved ones and friends who are basically concerned about your well-being, how you go. But for those of them who are close to me, a lot of them thought I was crazy when I resigned from MTN Nigeria in 2015 to run for local government. I didn't win. I got a job in Accra, good job, but I resigned to come back to the politics in 2016, first or second quarter. They thought I was crazy. They actually told me to my face I was crazy. It's normal. If you're not crazy, you haven't lived.
Oh, so you're known for taking crazy decisions, but I love the light analogy yet again. So now that you are trying to rebuild or rebirth the APC, some will say that's really tough. First off, the APC has, people who gave birth to it in that sense, the president, one of them. And this is you trying to rebirth the APC. So does that mean the APC has become some sort of stillbirth? Is it really challenged in that sense? What exactly are you trying to rebirth in the APC? Are you able to stand against those who gave birth to the APC? And these people are quite powerful. A lot of people describe the president, for example, as a very smart politician. Is that what you're going to go against? You said that if anybody stands against you, you can go through them. So are you able to go through these powers in the APC and rebirth the kind of APC that you desire?
Oh yes, that's not non-negotiable one. Then prior to that, we bettered the APC, not just Mr. President, all of us. In terms of what we gave up, the opportunity forgone in 2013 to align ourselves day and night, spend our resources, spend our time, spend our energy in assembling young people under the leadership of Barrister Ismail Ahmed. We travel around, around the country, we use our funds, our own personal money. Sometimes we didn't. I don't even like road trip because our roads are not safe. But I've had to. Because of politics, you can't be flying when others are on the road. Sometimes you don't even have the money to fly. You go on the road. It's a political activity. People don't understand the amount of sacrifice politicians have to make. I agree. It's not appreciated enough. I agree. But the moment you decided to lead is because you've seen what your people don't see, and you think you are able to paint it and make them feel it. So whatever challenges, whatever sacrifice comes with it, you've got to be able to take it. And just like I mean, I can say 12 years later now that president isn't the only mother or the father that gave birth. We all did, and there were a number of young people who did. You know, the sheer amount of young people we had while we were joining APC in 2013 was encouraging, because in there I saw like 3-4 people I knew from my university days that were people I would go to war with, I would go to I would go to party with, I would go to war with, I would do anything with any day. I saw them there, and in 2013, I mean, we didn't talk about this, we didn't have any prior conversation. We just went at the garden and I saw a number of people. I'll tell you, like, there was an event we did, was it 2013, the first mini congress we did at the Transcorp Hilton, when APYF met with the former Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, for the first time after their defection. Okay, that would be 2014. Yeah, that was after their defection or something. You see, we got there, and there were a lot of young people. I mean, these are young people that prior to that time, I mean, from 2009, when Twitter came really alive, they were very active on Twitter. I'm talking about I mean, we had Banks Omishore, we had Omojowa, we had Tolu Ogulesi, Shegun Dada, Ayobami, the Godfather, Ife Adebayo, Mo Brahima. I mean, these are people who naturally, when you look at them, they can be comfortable where they are. It will be easy for them to relocate and go and be earning some $10,000 to $12,000 per month anywhere in the world, and they'll be comfortable there. But they want to be home. They want to be counted among the people who build their nation when it's being counted. They don't want to be seen as people who go to eat where food is already made. What story will you be writing for yourself if you are seen to? I mean, if we don't have this challenge right now as a people, when our story is being written as a generation, what should be said? That we came to eat on food that was cooked by others and we're not able to make for the people coming after us.
So, Mr.
A multitude of this type of young people who are in the APC, who my consultation with prior to my resignation, and the generation of leaders that we actually really respect that are ahead of us, my consultation with them showed that it was the right thing, and they are with us. And at the right time, the world will understand that the APC will clean itself, you know, and the credit will belong to Mr. President. Quite frankly, because imagine a Democrat like Mr. President, who has been seen as a promoter of democratic value and democracy all his life, rising to the power and organizing a keenly, fairly, and well-planned primary election in the history of Nigeria. That credit will go to him. Then he does one, I mean, whoever emerges, whether him or somebody else, the fact that everybody can, confirm that this has been fair, this has been credible, and this has been clean, credit goes to him. If he does the same thing in national general election, give INEC the freedom he has always pushed for as an opposition leader. Let INEC be able to have the true independence they ought to have. I mean, he should not even stop at what used to be done. He should do better. There are things about, okay, should INEC chairman be elected? In what way will he be considered fair by all? Because if we do not build faith in the electoral system, I like to say this, that I would disappoint many Nigerians to say that nobody has won presidential election from 1990 date that should not have won. None. I mean, right. we should have had better options on the ballot, yes. We should have had better options on the ballot at each instance, yes. But it is not easy to rig a national election. The first way to rig a national election is to ensure that you are the only available political party nationally, which was what PDP did for a long time, and we were all against it, including this current president. So him doing that right now means that he wasn't against it for the good of all, he was against it for the good of self. And the rest of us must take the position he took yesterday and demand the 2025 version of what he demanded in 92.
All right, your commitment is undeniable. But just before we leave your APC rebirth ambition, a lot of people have been endorsing the president, members of the National Assembly, governors, We've even seen defections. So they're all in agreement that the best thing that has happened to Nigeria since sliced bread is Mr. President. How are you going to be able to topple that with your APC rebirth movement? Because you seem to be currently a lone voice in the wilderness.
I'm not really a lone voice. Just, I mean, it's just the one crazy enough to be talking now until everybody catches on the fever. I mean, you remember clearly at the very early stage, I was one of the first people who came out to say the current Mr. President is the right one for us as of 2023. You know, I mean, he was and still is. If you run election today for someone who, if we had a midterm election and you had to run today, I doubt if there's anybody who is prepared to do better than him, either at the polls or in governance. You know, but between now and 2027 is enough time to beam the searchlight on not just the political elite, but the entire class of leaders in private sector, in public offices, in even local areas. We know in our society, we know people who have led, who are inspiring, who are impacting society without necessarily being about naira and kobo. I mean, I'm not against money. Money brings certain level of comfort, yes, but money isn't everything. We need to create value for which this money is supposed to store. I mean, currency, from what we're told in school, is a store of value. I like to ask ourselves, what value are we storing as a people? Is it tribalism? Is it backbiting? Is it I pass my neighbor? Is it the one that the man takes money that is meant to provide the electricity and he goes to hospital and complain and he saw someone at the hospital? Meanwhile, he has taken for electricity. The guy who takes for transport is complaining for INEC. The guy who takes for INEC is complaining for education. I mean, we can't. No, at some point, there were less than 25 million that decided the last election. From the data we have, over nearly 70 million registered. That's a failure already. You know, we have a project we are starting. It's called Register to Vote, Vote to Live. You know, we are encouraging young people 55 and above to be participatory in the democracy.
We'll see how that plays out. I'd like to quickly get this one through before we run out of time. You mentioned moments ago that you also contested the local government election in the FCT, but you lost before your appointment. And you've been talking about how FCT Minister Nyesom Wike has also hijacked the political structure and threatening people to defect to the APC. If not, they'll not have their forms signed by a national secretary. Did your resignation also stem from this? Because you've attributed the victory of Mr. President in the FCT to yourself, that you are instrumental to it. So is your resignation also partly due to the political structure in the FCT being pulled from your feet?
All right. First, if Mr. President didn't win the FCT, it's not new. I mean, I'm a contributory factor to the overall victory.
Your local government, rather.
Like millions of
not
other
the
APC.
Entire FCT.
Like millions of other APC, well-meaning Nigerians, card-carrying APC members around the country who felt he was the best person for us, and rightly so. And I mean, yes, I ran for local government chairman in 2015. You know, I didn't win. You know, but I was impressed with my performance, and I was impressed with the process that I supported it. I stood with it. You know, there were plans to do things that were not. I mean, we followed through until the right thing was done. We went through the primaries the way it should be, and the guy won. They didn't want it. They were going to remove it, but we stood our ground. I was at the forefront of that. I led that. We stood our ground in the party secretariat until the guy became the candidate and the running mate we wanted to have. They wanted to change. We didn't let. We got the running mate we wanted. I mean, it was simple at the time. The highest scoring candidate was a northerner, you know, and it was in an environment like Abuja, you know, you would expect that there should be some sort of balance in electing leaders. So we told ourselves, like, AMAC was too metropolitan to have it looking like either a northern thing or a southern thing, or one religious thing. So among us, the aspirant, under the leadership of the guy who won, said, you know, he would want this guy, and we realized that, okay, the guy was actually the best guy because he was the highest performing non-northern, non-Muslim aspirant in the election. It was Honorable Lawrence Onochukwu at the time. So the guys didn't like the people who opposed him at the party secretariat. Funny enough, were Igbos. They were the Igbo leaders at the party secretariat who wanted to bring someone who was not even known in Abuja politics to take that position. But we stood our ground and we won the election. We're in the opposition.
Well, Mr.
We won the election.
This is a very interesting walk down memory lane. But because of time,
so in this time, what has happened here is that in the same APC, same AMAC, we have a number of colleagues of mine who are in party who wanted to run.
All right.
Have been doing everything since, but the Wike has now gone to bring my Kalangu Christopher, the sitting local government chairman who was in PDP, took him to national chairman, compelled him to get the state chairman to make him a member of the APC, and told him if he wants to be re-elected, he has to come with the APC. And he tells these people like he's talking with the authority of Mr. President.
Well,
I cannot speak for that, rightly or wrongly. But the fact that he uses a state power that is assigned and approved by the President to do that, the President takes the fall.
We're totally out of time, Mr. Audu, and it will be good to also hear from the FCT minister's side regarding this, because these are very weighty issues. But there are those, and we have just about a minute to go. There are those who see your name, Audu, and they think, wait a minute, is it the same Audu? Is your brother a minister? Are you playing a script? What exactly is going on here?
No, I'm Audu from Okene. My father was a simple muazzin before he passed on. He was a normal, he was a peasant. So, I mean, it's not late Prince Audu. He was our beloved political leader from the early 90s when Kogi was created till he passed on. It's a leader, I mean, I don't think Kogi has beaten his record as a governor of Kogi State till date, but I'm not from his lineage. His kids are my brothers, from Mustafa to Ali, who bears my name, to the minister. We're family, we're friends, we're brothers. That's how we relate, and that's our generation thing. We are together, and we wouldn't want the generations who have corrupted their own days to corrupt our own. Simple.
All right, Mr. Audu, thank you so much for these clarifications and, of course, for your contributions on the program. The coming days will be quite telling about those who will be more crazy enough, as you have said, to start speaking as you have begun speaking. And we look forward to another conversation with you. We've been talking with Mr. Aliu Audu, a former senior special assistant to President Tinubu on public affairs. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
And there's more political discussions coming up, but this time we'll be zeroing in on the electoral space. How healthy is it, especially ahead of 2027? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The political discourse continues. Let's bring in our guest, the former chairman of IPAC, Mr. Yabagi Sani, joining us virtually. Mr. Sani, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Thank you, Jim, for having me. Good morning.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Today is your birthday, right?
Yeah, you are correct. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday to you. How does it feel? 68, right?
I appreciate it, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you're on your way to 70. Maybe I want to start differently. I wanted to start another way, but let me start this way now that I'm confirmed as your birthday. So you've seen Nigeria for almost 70 years, and you've seen this democracy at its peaks and low points. What do you make of where we are as a country?
Well, I like to believe that it's a cup that is half full, not half empty, in the sense that democracy is still alive and kicking, in spite of all the challenges. And that is the beauty of democracy. It can accommodate, most desired things. And as a people, when that determination is there, we get to make it work, for the people. So I think as a country, we have succeeded in ensuring that democracy, for 26 years now, we've been practicing this democracy, from 1999 to date. And in spite of all the hiccups here we are still, very hopeful and strong as a nation. Like I said, in spite of all the shortcomings. So we give kudos to Nigerians, for bearing, with us, the politicians, and having hope. So we have to keep the flag flying and ensure that generations yet unborn will come to benefit from our sojourn and the amendments, corrections, and whatever that we need to make. So it's good that nothing has happened. We're allowed to make our mistakes. And of course, like I said, we will also continue to make amends. America has spent over so many 500 years or so, and on this process, and it's still not perfect. So, which means whatever is happening in Nigeria, as far as democracy is concerned, it's not abnormal. But there are things that we must take steps and as quickly as possible, and then correct those things that we have discovered that are not in the interest of democracy. I'm talking about deepening the roots of democracy. And these are things that we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about amendments to the Electoral Act. We'll be talking about how we should ensure that there's no state capture in the manner we're having it today, especially. So these are things that must, be corrected, and so that we can have transparency, we can have INEC independence, we can have the Electoral Offenses Commission, to be active, working. So these are things that I believe we need to, as a nation or as a country, focus our attention on. It's not that you won't have some of these, hiccups, because we are human beings after all. So, but the ability to remain intact, as a democratic nation is a big achievement, not only for our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but even Nigerians, in particular, because they have been putting up with so much that I know in some other countries, something will have given long ago. But here we are, very resilient and very hopeful, very dynamic people that they believe so much in themselves and in this country. So kudos to Nigerians.
Mr. Sandy, so I want to find out from you what you make of this worry over one-party states. Now, actively, it's not one party, because right now we have about 4 parties in power. I mean, if we consider the governors, we have maybe APC, PDP, we have ABGA, we have the Labour Party, NNPP. I think that's about 5 of them. But
no, you have Jeff. You have also ADP. We have a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is a very big.
No. I'm talking about. I'm using governors now as my pointers. I'm using governors for my analytics. I know there are more. We have almost about 19 political parties actively. Yes, I'm using governors for example, and where they hold sway. Where I'm going to with all of that, because there was a time the PDP had about almost, I think, 30 or so states they were controlling. In Nigeria, out of the 36 states, and now the APC is racking up that number. In fact, in the National Assembly, they are borderline approaching to third majority in both chambers of the bicameral chambers of the National Assembly. So in principle, it's not necessarily that it's one party, but the dominance of one party in terms of being able to drive an agenda with little or no resistance. Is that a concern to you?
Oh, it's of major concern to every Democrats and Nigerians, in general. The reasons are that if we do not allow democracy to be practiced as intended by the Constitution, and which means that is government of the people, by the people, for the people, then we are really taking what we have for granted. And care is not taken. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong if you don't do the right things. So I believe we are concerned because, like you mentioned, and I've always said, we cannot pile up all the blames on Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our current president. It is us, Nigerians, as a country, that created a situation where you have a Democrat like Bola Ahmed Tinubu behaving like an emperor, because we have failed to do what we need to. This is a constitutional democracy. So if your laws are not obeyed, or your laws are not, in sync with what democracy says, then, of course, what do you get? What you get is what you are having today, something that is not democratic at all. So it's not Bola Ahmed Tinubu alone. Buhari, the same thing happened. PDP, like you said, the same thing happened. So we need to look inwards. We need to look at our laws, or how do we enforce these laws? For instance, of recent, which is also another evidence of a blatant state capture, in Nigeria. So that what I mean is that one person has managed to hijack and control all the institutions that are supposed to further or supposed to help deepen democracy and, in fact, govern democracy, as the case is. What am I saying? You have INEC, you have the police, you have all the security agencies, you have every big, important person in this country. They are all at the beck and call of one individual, which is Mr. President. And this person, in most cases, if not in all cases, is a participant in the election. And he appoints everybody that will supervise this election. So which magic do you want to play to expect a free, fair, and credible election? So this is where we are getting it wrong. It isn't that people who you see moving into APC are moving because they believe in APC or believe in Mr. President himself. It's because they have no choice. Because you could even be removed, even after you have been elected. They can trump up some charges against you, and there's no law to protect you. So this is the case. Look at Rivers. What is happening in Rivers? Mr. President just woke up one day and said, I don't like the face of this individual. Let him go. And what did they do? They went and started bombing pipelines and what have you in this area and said that that is his fault, as if he's the chief security, as the chief security officer, if he has been given the powers to mobilize the police or the army or what have you to check such excesses in his domain. So this is the kind of democracy we have. It's a caricature of what we are supposed to have. And the National Assembly, who are supposed to really give this country the model that we're supposed to have. Nigeria is supposed to be a model to the continent of Africa, and if you like, to the global community as far as democracy is concerned. But look at where we are, caricature of what democracy is supposed to be, because we do not have laws. Where we have one, we do not enforce them. Look at what happened just last 2 weeks ago. I attended the ceremony because of the foundation laying of INEC new headquarters. And because I was invited by the the chairman of INEC, who is the regulator, who is our regulatory agency. So I honored the invitation, and only for me to listen to Mr. President saying that they want to build this headquarters, they must finish it before 2027 elections. And I started wondering, what is the haste for? Then you ask yourself, does Mr. President even have the right by the constitution of this country to build a headquarters, for INEC, such a sensitive, agency that the constitution of this country has made provisions for its autonomy and its independence. Apart, the section, I think section 158(1) of the constitution of this country emphasize the autonomy of INEC, that no agency, no political control organization, no president, no federal government will interfere with the activities of INEC. So here you are today, Mr. President telling us that they are building this headquarters, for INEC, and they will finish it before 2027. Some of us started getting worried. Why were we worried? I know you remember what happened in America in 1972, when Richard Nixon, the then president, went and boggled the office of Democratic Party, the opposition party, and installed listening devices in their offices. And that led to the resignation of Nixon in 1974. So, and again, there's another instance where people can install devices and then be corrupt and then compromise whatever you are doing. African Union, in 2012, it was, when African Union wanted to build the headquarters in Addis Ababa, China stepped forward, say, we want to do it for you, as a way of deepening the relationship between China and Africa. And of course, African leaders say, okay, fine, because it's about $600 something million, so somebody comes say it's going to do it. So they allowed them to do it. But what happened? In 2017 rather, 5 years later, they now discovered that the computers installed in that building and the building itself was bugged. With meetings, conferences, and what have you by African leaders was being reported to Shanghai. You know,
Interesting.
So we didn't have any
Interesting,
secrets.
Engineer Sani. Interesting perspectives that you're sharing, particularly from Jeffrey's last question. But we may have a bigger problem on our hands. This is because after every electioneering cycle, it appears to be a situation of to your tent or Israel for all political parties in the opposition. After the elections have been fought and won, you're bringing to fore these very germane talking points about the dangers of a one-party state. But where is the opposition for engagement, to put the feet of the ruling party to fire on these issues that you're raising? Where is your own political party? Where is the PDP? Where is the Labour Party? They're all embroiled in crisis. So that speaks to the lack of deep opposition, bold opposition to challenge the policies and indeed the conduct of the ruling party. Where is your party, if I might start by asking?
No, we're here. We are here, Bukola, we are here. In fact, on this issue I'm talking about, we are even ready to go to court with Mr. President because it's not even in his own interest. You know, I mean, Section 80 of the Constitution provides, you know, or 81 rather, provides for INEC to get its money directly from National Assembly. It says that if, you know, because it says that INEC budget will come directly from the consolidated revenue, which means, and consolidated revenue is only National Assembly that can approve withdrawal from that revenue. So if INEC is getting its funds from consolidated revenue, how can the federal government now come and take that money and say they're building facilities for INEC? Or is it a Greek gift that, you know, they want to build and then bug the office so that elections will not be fair and free? So the point we are making is that we are here when we are challenging this government for their own sake too, because I don't want a situation where tomorrow somebody will wake up and then maybe discover certain things and it will lead to resignation of Mr. President. We don't want that to happen in our client. So oppositions are out, you know, really very strongly fighting for this democracy. But you must understand one thing, like I said, we are not operating in a normal situation. You have laws that have been hijacked. The judiciary has been hijacked. The INEC has been hijacked. The police has been hijacked. They are all appointed by one person or nominated by one person, and then when it goes to National Assembly, who today, for so far, there is so much, you know, romance with the federal, with the executive, and this does not augur well for democracy. So the issue of state capture is so endemic, is so blatant, is so with impunity. You know, the Mr. President can do whatever he likes, and nobody can challenge him. That is not democracy, for God's sake. And that's why we are talking, we are speaking out now, and that's why we say we go to court, you know, on this protection of INEC, which is the most important institution. Bukola, like you know, governance depends on the credibility of the elections that you are able to conduct. And who is going to supervise these elections? It is the INEC. So if we really want to get anything to work for us, whether on the political front or in the economic front or social front or internationally, we must look at how do we conduct our elections. How transparent are they? How independent, impartial INEC is? And which laws do we have to punish those who may run foul of the law? So these are things that we have been overlooking. In National Assembly, I'm sure they are more informed. They know what I'm talking about. Why should they look the other way when they see that somebody is brazenly, you know, abusing the constitution of this country, you know, because he has been given our allegiance and our resources, you know, and that when their own operational, you know, border is defined in the constitution. So, Bukola, this is the most fundamental issue because this gave power and force to state capture, which we are talking about. And when you talk about crisis in other political parties, most of these crises are induced. You know, look at the kind of role Yosem Weke is playing in PDP. I mean, it's so laughable that somebody who claims to be a member of one party is in another party and promoting, you know, anti-party, you know, in such a scale that it should not be condoned by anybody. But what do you think the opposition can do? You know, you remove him, he will go to court. They have the court. You say you can't remove me. You know, so what do you do? So it's us Nigerians that should now step up to the plate, put pressure on our National Assembly. Let them do the right thing for this country, for themselves, and for the future.
So understanding that,
is not
right?
You can see the amount of crisis that PDP has been going through, and,
right.
and I give kudos to them because they have been able to withstand, all the onslaught. I mean, all the antics of the government, to destabilize them completely and destabilize other political parties.
Right.
But that is not in the interest of even Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of this country today. That would not go as a good legacy for him.
All right.
So these are the things we are talking about.
Seeing that we're in an extra... Right, if you can hear me, Engineer Sonny, just want to quickly put this in. Seeing that we're in an extraordinary situation, as you put it, why then are you not being a part of the coalition? Because they say that extraordinary times require extraordinary measures. So you've had Peter Obi speaking about the coalition, even talking about, his interest to run, saying if the coalition says he should do one term, he will do one term, and you can't take away the support that he has. You've had others as well speaking about the coalition, Atiku Abubakar, a lot of things in the works right now. So why are you choosing to stay away from the coalition? Is there another solution that you think is more viable than the coalition?
Yeah, you see, when you look at the environment under which the coalition is working, it does not in any way give credence, to the whole initiative. And I'll tell you why. You see, whether we like it or not, this country, we boxed ourselves into a corner where primordial sentiments have become the order of the day. Yes, Mr. Peter Obi can agree to say I'm going to do one term, but then the Northerners will tell you that we're supposed to have, the Southerners the Northerners will tell you that we're supposed to have after Bola Ahmed Tinubu's next, term, if he gets the election, it should come to the North. But again, against the background where we are operating, look at the laws. We are human beings. Human beings, absolute power corrupt absolutely. Peter Obi is not a saint. He's not somebody that is from another planet. We have seen successive governments, successive presidents trying to see how they can turn the constitution around and give themselves extra, like third term and things like that. Which one didn't try? I ask you. It's hard. So this is why it will be difficult for a lot of people to believe, Mr. Peter Obi, that after the second time, he will get it. And then how will it even succeed? If you look at, like I said, the sentimental aspect of it, the state capture, which I'm talking about, because if you have power of incumbency, it's not Peter Obi at that point in time. At that point in time, it's a Frankenstein monster. That's what we have in Bola Ahmed Tinubu today, because we made it so. Otherwise, you cannot expect a Democrat like Bola Ahmed Tinubu to behave in the manner he's behaving. So this is why we are saying that it is the laws. Okay. It's not the individual. Forget about the individual. Once you become a president or something like that, that's a different ball game. It's a different human being you are looking at. He doesn't behave normal. In that circumstance, especially when it comes to power. So. Yes, they can sell the idea of Peter Obi doing one term and what have you, but how many people will really believe in that? That's the issue you must ask yourself. And how are we sure that you will end up with this coalition thing that you are talking about, with another about two presidents or something like that? As Atiku said, he's not going to run again. When you have all the things going on, all the situations going on, a situation where you will end up with Peter Obi being on the ballot, say he must be on the ballot. I think we're saying also that he wants to be on the ballot. So the issue is that if the coalition people can agree on one ticket, and I don't know how viable that ticket is even going to be against the background of the sentiment.
That's a question that's actually the question we will continue to put across to everybody who is in the coalition, because it's still a building. In the building process, a party has been formed, interim leadership has been made, so it's an ongoing conversation. Apparently, Engineer, Yabagisani is a former presidential candidate and also former chairman of IPAC. Thank you, sir, and happy birthday yet again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Okay, away from the conversations, guys. Let's find out what the people are saying on the pages of social media.
I think one of the biggest stories that came out, still making the rounds, and this is something that began months ago, is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduah appearing in court yet again. This time she's been granted bail based on self-recognizance. Recall that the federal government arraigned her at the Federal High Court, Abuja. She had also appeared at the FCT High Court as well. There you see her yet again in court with her husband. 6 counts bordering on alleged cybercrime against Senate President Godswill Akpabio, former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, and of course on that claim that they're plotting her assassination, which she spoke to on live television. So there you see, she's been granted bail at the court, and the case will come up for hearing in a couple of months. Of course, she had all our supporters joining her in court. September the 22nd, I should say, that's when the case has been adjourned to.
And so we understand that there are many cases now. There's one for defamation, and this is borders on allegations of going against the Cybercrime Act. So we'll see how all that plays out.
All right, let's get to which one do we get to now? There was one for choice. I think let's get to this issue around Nigerians reacting to a post by the EFCC. The EFCC had posted about, just a funny, I wish you can put up that, I wish you got that, I don't know what that animal is, Kayode, where they posted more like looking at if you are trying to spray. Yes, that's the picture. Nigerians, so this is from the EFCC's page. Nigerians spraying is part of our culture. We must spray money. Then, it's a milk calf now.
A meerkat.
And then that's like the EFCC watching by the corner and just watching. Okay, it's part of your culture. Let's see how you spray it. So Nigerians started mocking the anti-graft agency. So, okay, this is selective justice. When other people are spraying, you get them arrested, like Bobrisky. Other people like Chief Priest, maybe they get settled out of cost. But when it came to Tompolo, all of a sudden the EFCC started speaking big grammar. So they started mocking the EFCC, more like saying, it has to be fair to all. You were the ones that say you go after Tompolo and invite him. How far has that gone? And the Okoye's children as well, who we understand they've also, no, we don't know whether they've been invited or not, but people are just saying generally, like, if this law is to be for everybody, it has to be fair. It's not for the rich or the poor. If a big man sprays, the person should be invited. If a poor man sprays, the person should be invited. I think it's a fair argument. So the EFCC got a lot of flack for that, and this is a challenge to the EFCC to go after Tompolo. Let's find out what you're saying. Isi said Tompolo spraying Naira, EFCC, that's AI generated. So, for context, when they see Tompolo spraying, they say the EFCC will say it's AI generated.
Could be AI generated.
No, the person was very emphatic.
Yeah.
No, that is not, let's not, that is what the person said.
I'm saying the EFCC chairman, in his response then, I say, oh, well, we don't know. It could have been AI generated in that sense. And people are saying it's convenient to say it could have been AI generated, which is what gave birth to this statement.
Okay. But we never got a denial from the camp of, the chairman of Tantita Security Services.
But to be fair, he wasn't spraying the Naira.
But they said, yes, they were spraying him the money.
He was being sprayed.
He was being sprayed.
And he was walking through. They
chose to say they will invite him.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the point. They didn't say they will invite the sprayer. Is it the spray?
Exactly.
They invite the spray.
Because he was on the receiving end.
Since you've said so, I know they were asking him the question about Tompolo, and he said, well, these days you have to subject it to examination, investigation. People are saying, oh, now it got to Tompolo, grammar has entered. Oh, really?
Okay, so let's take this one from Dr. Farouk, who says, but if person gets plenty money like some people, we all know who. Well, what's your own interpretation of this, guys?
I just keep seeing that meerkat and the fact that this animal has suffered a lot in the hands of social media. But I think it's high time the EFCC just tackle this once and for all. I think it's clearly a messy situation. And if we talk about building trusts, institutions, building trust, these are the things people look at, okay?
That gives the optics.
Yeah, so tackle it. And be honest, if do you remember that the EFCC had this jingle that used to say, "Nobody day above the law"? That was a popular jingle that the EFCC had then. I think it was during Obasanjo's time. And that was the messaging. Nobody is above the law. Has that changed now? If it has changed, come out and tell us, EFCC, so we can help you as a nation. But I think that this should be dealt with decisively.
I'm happy
to build trust.
I respect what the chairman is doing, but I'm happy they are being dragged. Because it always feels like when is the high and mighty, the laws are changing. That is what happens in Nigeria. Unfortunately, when it's a high and mighty, all of a sudden there's so many simple things get complicated when it's those that have the war chest. So this means that EFCC, the reason why we're saying this, that if you invite somebody else, an ordinary citizen tomorrow, and he doesn't honor your invitation, he references this, you may lose in court. Okay, let's even leave the law, just out of morality. It just gives you a high moral responsibility to go after Tompolo, asking the questions. At least let's see something being done.
You know what?
Even if you could argue that he was being sprayed, it was the sprayee, not the sprayer. What about the circumstances there? Who is the sprayer that should be brought to book? Is he an associate of Tompolo that is too highly placed up there that should not be held accountable? These are the questions that Nigerians will continue to ask as far as the law is concerned. If the EFCC would have us understand that no one is above the law, then why is there continuously a disconnect between the letter and spirit of the law?
Absolutely.
These issues are very
apparently,
important.
as it stands now, it looks like some people are above the law. EFCC, please, we're building an institution. Help us to make sure that that doesn't happen in the next few days. Let's see something. I think the last one,
speaking of those, well, not above the law, the House of Reps is asking for a budget breakdown of 1.48 trillion naira Rivers budget from the sole administrator, querying 24 billion naira for CCTV cameras. You see Emperor for Bo saying that this is laudable. The budget itself, compared to others, is quite humongous. It should practically translate into better development strides for Rivers people. 24 billion naira for CCTVs? This just says it's very outrageous. So yes, we must indeed look into those books.
And indeed, is it another 27 billion naira for the purchase of gunboats as well? Gunboats, CCTV, 24 billion naira. How much would it cost to build a primary healthcare center in one of those communities in River State?
A fraction of that.
I doubt that it would be up to 24 billion naira, but clearly these issues must be interrogated. The expenditure of the Rivers Appropriation Bill must be favorable to the people of Rivers. It is their own resources. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So thanks to the reps, let's get the work done. That's it on the program. Thanks for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Bye-bye.
We'll be back again tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Kayode Okikulu. Sunrise Daily is next. I see Malwell looking beautiful this morning, so you don't want to miss the show. See you.